What is up, YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Mandarin Metal, and we're back on F1. We need to recover from last week. That was an absolute disgrace. So yeah, we have some work to do. We have to catch up and we have to fix our mistakes that we made. Now, we are going to Australia. It's a very nice track. I love this track. Very fun to drive. Looking at some weekly activities that we want to do. We are looking at maybe just again focusing on our second driver, also focusing on our other departments, our aero and our chassis, because we want them to kind of be in a good spot so that none of our components fail when we do upgrade our car. And as you can see, I use the recommendation on this part, and I want to do a gearbox upgrade because my gearbox is getting a little worn and we don't want that. So now the moment of truth. Are we gonna get all our parts for the Australian Grand Prix? And no, we don't. It's a failure. I don't like this. I was hoping we get this major upgrade in, but that's the point of taking the risk. Getting that early setup, or not early setup, but that early development. We're pushing for our early development. Didn't work out in the end. Now, obviously, we want our with the charity event. We were looking at just encouraging our second driver here. As you can see, there we go. This has failed major. It is a major upgrade, so it would have pushed our development quite far in terms of chassis. Not the end of the world. We're hoping to get it in for the next race, but we do not have enough resource points at the moment. So yeah. Now, going into the session, you can see we have 2 wet practice sessions. This is going to make it a little tricky because the race is dry. So we kind of need to time it right going onto the track, because I don't want to run in the wet if we aren't going to be racing in the wet. So there's no point. And you can see first practice is a wet session. So skip this. It was, I think, about 30 minutes of the session. And then we joined the track. We decided to do our track acclimatization. Again, if you're new to the channel, new to the videos, your track acclimatization, pretty much you have to go through these little gates. You have to hit them at the right speed to perfect your lap. Now, you can see it's not a great lap for me. Again, the Russell was fighting me quite early on, and it kind of not confused me, but it did kind of throw me off a bit. So I didn't do a great lap. I also felt the car was quite heavy. I don't know how to explain it, but it just, like, the car wasn't responding to how I wanted it to respond. It wasn't turning in. I had a lot of oversteer. I was spinning. I had a lot of tire spin as well, wheel spin. I should say, not tire spin. But yeah, I had a lot of wheel spin. I had a lot of oversteer, and it didn't feel great in the car. So I did end up restarting the practice program just a couple of times to see maybe I'm rusty, and if there's anything else that I could do to maybe improve my lap time. But it was like that pretty much the whole time. I ended up trying 2 different setups, and the setup that I was running over here worked out to be the best. Now, this track acclimatization run, I did a lot better. This is now again going back to restarting the practice program the whole time. This kind of just helped me learn the track, and yeah. It could also be, I think, another contribution to me struggling so much would have been maybe the physics of the game. Having gone from a wet to a dry track, I wasn't getting enough traction. My tires were cold. But then again, if you look on the dashboard of my steering wheel, my tires are quite warm. So yeah, it was it wasn't bad. This run was a lot better. I'm just thinking now, I'm trying to nail this lap. I'm trying to nail this circuit, because if you do, I mean, you're in a good position for the Grand Prix. So again, I'm just trying to learn to control the car in these situations, and trying to learn my braking points, where I should accelerate and adjust, and that's what I was just thinking the whole time. But again, I also think a lot of what it is, I stress or I panic for when I do these practice programs, and I think that just plays a big role in what we did. And I ended up P7 with a 121.6 on the soft tires. Good lap, but I wasn't happy with it. Again, like I've been saying in the whole video, it was a difficult session. Practice 1 was very difficult. Now going into practice 2, we are going to do most of our programs here. We are looking at the first program is going to be our long run pace. We want to see where we are in terms of how much fuel we're going to need for the race. So we are doing our race strategy. Okay. Now the first lap that I did was absolutely shocking. Again, going into this session, I was hoping to be a lot better than what I was, and I just wasn't. It started off well, but as the lap progressed, I was doing a lot worse. So the first part, I seem to be nailing the first part of the sector, or the first part of the lap quite well. The first sector was really good, but when I got into the second sector, this long straight over here, if you want to call it that, was more of a windy straight, I was losing a lot of time. Again, this could purely be a setup issue, but I wasn't. I end up trying different setups with my qualifying laps, because I kind of saved my soft tires for running quali laps. And yeah, and you can see there, look at how much time I've lost. So where I'm supposed to be sitting at 122.8, that's my target lap time, I'm 7/10 down on that lap, which is not good. I was really baffled at this point. I did not know what to do. I clawed back some time, and yeah, so I just kind of focused more on the lap, not trying to overthink everything, and it improved. I started setting a lot quicker lap times. If this is due to the program structure, hey, it's okay. I mean, I was doing quicker lap times. And yeah, going back to the garage, we are going to set off on looking at our quali pace. Yeah, and race pace, not looking too bad, barring the first lap. Tire wear, it's not too good, not too bad. We're kind of keeping it in check. Now this is my first lap on the qualifying, for my qualifying pace. Excuse me. Now we're going to ride on board for most of this lap, and this lap I tried a different setup, and my thinking was, okay, let's slap on a different setup. Maybe there's something with the setup. Maybe the front wing isn't angled right. Maybe I need to add more downforce or less downforce onto the car. And for the first part of the lap, it was actually quite good. You know, I was kind of happy with the setup. I made a little mistakes here and there, using up a lot of our ERS for our quali laps, because we want to get the best. We're not worried about tires. I am sitting currently P4. That was on the medium tire. And now going into our final sector here, we can see I am 3/10 down, 3/10 up, sorry, on the time that I need to be setting. I need to set at 120.9. I'm 4/10 up. Am I going to go? I go 5/10 up, and at the end of the lap, I set a 120.3. It ends up being it's a good enough position for third, which I'm happy with. Our target is 7th. And what I did now was I actually went back to my setup that I was running on the first practice session and for the race strategy. So I wanted to see where I was going wrong. There wasn't actually the setup issues. I am currently P1, but again, we don't score points in practice. So riding on board here, I've lost a lot of time there. I think I would have actually done a lot better if I hadn't messed up that first part of the sector. But again, the first sector wasn't my issue. It's the second sector. And the third sector seemed to be fine as well. It's just the second sector that I struggled so much with. Now skipping a bit forward, I'm 6/10 up, doing a lot better than what I was on the first quali run. So again, see, it's just I'm losing time. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it has to be some setup issue, but you know what? We ride on board for the rest of the lap, and I'm 6/10 up at the moment. Now down to 5/10. I go to 6/10. Do I get 7? And it stays at 6/10, and I've set a 120.0, and it's good enough for first. So we are going to stick with this car setup. This is going to carry us to the race, and hopefully we can get a good qualifying position. Now the guys behind me are 5/10, but I pay no attention to these lap times. I mean, you can do well in practice, but when qualifying comes and the race starts, you know, it's a very different story. It tells you a big story. It tells a very different story actually. Now looking at the Australian Grand Prix, we're going to quali, and are we going to get pole? Where are we going to end up? So far, we've qualified 3rd, and yeah, I think, you know, if we're looking at the lap times of, I just said, you know, the lap times don't matter, but if you're looking at the lap times of the first session, the first couple practice sessions, yeah, I mean, pole could be on the line. Let's hope so. Fingers crossed. Now, first quali lap in Q1 lap, and I see there's a car in front of me. Now it's Alonso, and we go in. He's going to get out of the way, but he comes back. He just pushes me off the track. I don't know what he was thinking there. He moved out of the way for me, but then just went back onto the racing line, and it compromised my whole lap for qualifying. I was honestly fuming at this point, and I just didn't know what to say. Alonso pushing me off the track like that is, it's devastating. It compromised me for the whole lap. And yeah, now let's ride on board for the rest of this lap. We're up into 8th gear. Now we shift down to 5th, and we want to keep it clean there, because if you're too aggressive, you do get sent out wide and you're going into the barriers. Now here is, I love this corner because I'm just late on the brakes. Again, I compromised myself there. I was too late on the brakes, so I pushed myself wide. But yeah, if you time it perfectly, you can get a nice run into this final sector. And running up to the line, where does it put us? It puts us P21, just behind my teammate. Now that is definitely not up to scratch. This means I have to go out on another run for Q1. I put on the same set of soft tires because the difference was so small. Now, going towards the end of the lap of qualifying, I am 5/10. I was almost a second up, but I've lost a lot of time. 6/10 up. Where is this going to put me at the end of the race? Not the race, qualifying. I'm 16th. I have just scraped through to Q2 by the skin of my teeth. And at this, I actually thought I was out of Q1, and I've made it into Q2. But just 1.1 seconds off the pace, and I was stressing. Now for Q2, standard procedure, I put in a banker time. It wasn't that great. I made a lot of mistakes. So this lap time is going to look a lot better than what it actually should be. First corner, first two corners, I am 4 tenths up. Going in here, I am 5 tenths up. I nailed this sector, riding on board for Q2. This is going to be our moment of truth. Do we get into Q3? 5 tenths up at the end of the first sector. But now, sector 1 has been amazing for us for this whole Grand Prix so far, this Grand Prix weekend. Our bane has been the second sector, going into sector 2. Riding on board, quali is complete, so Q2 has come to an end, but I am 7 tenths up. It's looking good at the moment, and everyone is tumbling down the order. People are improving their laps, which is amazing. I'm 1 second up, going into the final sector. Now, do I nail this corner? Yes, I do. Late on the brakes. Hamilton has just set a 119.4, I think it was. Did I see that correctly? I don't know. But I'm 1.9 seconds up. I go a little wide, so I lose 4 tenths. I could have been 2 seconds up on that lap, but I clawed back sometime here, 1.4 seconds. Where does it put me? Have I gotten out of Q2? Yes, I have. It puts me P3. This has been our story so far for this season. We are always qualifying P3. Are we able to break this mark on our final lap of quali? Again, Q3 standard procedure. Like I said, we put in a banker time. It was much better than Q2's time, and you can see that by I am only 1/10 up going into this corner. Now 2 tenths, approaching the end of the first sector. Do we set the fastest first sector? Again, we've been good. Yes, we do. We set the fastest first sector. Going into the second sector, up into 7th, 4 tenths up, 8th gear, running all the way. The car's about to scream in my ears. DRS is wide open. Now, hit this braking zone, 5 tenths up, doing very well at the moment. We are approaching the end of sector 2. We have approached the end of sector 2. We're in sector 3 already. Now 1 second up on our previous best. Where is this going to put us? Again, Leclerc just put in a 118.8. What a lap from him. 1.2 seconds up. Where? 1.3, 1.4. Where are we going to end up? We're going to cross the line now, and we are currently P2. Yes, let's go. That is it. We are on the front row of the grid for the Australian Grand Prix. What a lap from us. We are 1 tenth down, almost 2 tenths down from Leclerc. Made a couple of mistakes on that lap, but if we had nailed it from the start, if we had nailed every corner, we could have been looking at a pole position. But this puts us in a great position for the Australian Grand Prix. Let's have a look.
Circuit missed a few years off the F1 calendar, and we missed Albert Park. So welcome back, and it's great to be back in Melbourne. Welcome to the Australian Grand Prix. The Melbourne circuit is certainly one that needs to be taken seriously. It's a combination of slippery surfaces and difficult corners, making it a very tricky track when it comes to overtaking. Drivers find it hard to pass and will need to take full advantage of those DRS zones if they want to have any hope of breaking through. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And Iceman completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Hamilton, Verstappen, Norris, Russell, Fernando Alonso, Perez, Oscar Piastri, Bottas, Ocon, Stroll, Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Hülkenberg, Magnussen, Albon, Fittipaldi, Gasly, Sargent, and Zhou Guanyu. Now it's time to head down to the track. And a warm welcome, of course, to my co-commentator here today. It's Natalie Pinkham. Can we begin by having a chat about Charles Leclerc?
What a quality performance. The big question, though, is how does that translate on race day? Can they hold on to that lead? One more thing to consider is the strategy element. How far can the drivers push these tyres? And who is going to blink first for fresh rubber? It'll be interesting to see if the leaders have to compromise their plan to cover off the cars behind them.
And there we have it, guys. This is the Australian Grand Prix P2. Where are we going to end? It's 5 lights and away we go for the Australian Grand Prix. Up into second. We get an amazing start. Are we gonna take the lead of the Grand Prix? Yes, we do. Into turn 1. I have a little bit of contact at the back of me, but it's okay. I'm up into first. Leclerc second, Russell third, and Sainz following in 4th position. Hamilton finishing the top 5. So, where do we end up in this Grand Prix? Let's have a look. But again, now 7 tenths ahead of Leclerc. I'm trying to break whatever DRS that he can get on me. I want to break it. And again, first sector, amazing lap time. I nailed the first sector, but the second sector just kills me, and Leclerc is on my buttocks. There he takes it. He overtakes me for the lead of the race, and we aren't even at the end of lap 1. I mean, we get an amazing start, but we just can't seem to hold position. We aren't able to break away from these guys. They are, again, what are we? We shouldn't actually be in this position. Let's be honest. You know, we're out of position a lot of the time. You know, it comes down to the qualifying pace is really strong. Race pace kind of evens out, and it does put us back in place where we should be. I mean, the first race of the season, that win, we got lucky. We got lucky in that race. With the safety car, the red flag, we got lucky. But this is the Australian Grand Prix. Let's focus here. I want to stay with Leclerc. I don't want to lose DRS on him because he's going to help me achieve maybe a podium finish. We need to stay with him. We need to keep that DRS option available. But we do have Russell right behind us. He's 4 tenths behind us. Sainz is 9 tenths behind us. It's so crazy. And Leclerc just seems to be getting away from me, and I am stressing. I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want a repeat of last week's episode. You know, we could have been finishing in the top spot last week, but we didn't because we made mistakes. So I'm not thinking clearly. That's still burnt fresh in my mind. 5 tenths to Leclerc, 7 tenths, and I fear the worst is about to come. And we're using a lot of our overtake to try and stick with him, and it also just helps cover us helps cover off Russell behind us. And here we go. Russell's got DRS. It's 2 tenths, 1 tenth, and there we go. He almost overtook us, and I've got damage. I've sustained damage with that battle against myself and Russell. This is heartbreaking because this means that we could suffer from pace coming into the later stage of this Grand Prix. We have to be so careful that we don't damage the body of the car anymore. And I am in disbelief. You know, this was supposed to be a good Grand Prix, and now I've sustained enough damage that I'm going to suffer from pace, and we will see this going into the later stage of the Grand Prix. But again, fending off Russell, I'm still sticking with Leclerc. I do have the DRS. This helped a heck of a lot at this stage of the Grand Prix, and Leclerc isn't breaking away as quickly as what I thought he might have. Only 7 tenths. Russell has the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Sainz is on his tail, and we need to just be clean. We need to be clinical in what's to come. So, repeat of what happened on lap 3. No, I stick to the inside. We're giving each other enough space, which is good. We're showing each other respect. But at the same time, this means that Leclerc has gotten away from us. He's 1 second ahead of us. So that means that we do not get DRS for the next lap. And now you can see with that, we end up 3.2 seconds behind him. And on lap 6, Russell overtakes us. This is going to hurt our race. But it's not over. We never give up. That is not our mentality. We are fighting for a championship. We are fighting for the constructors. We are fighting for the drivers. We might not win it this season, but we can still fight. Now, we want to stay with Russell, but he just breaks away. The Mercedes is just too quick. I mean, I wish it was true, but look at the season of actual F1. But let's not go into that. That's just too heartbreaking. So now Russell is 1 second ahead of us. Sainz is 1 second behind us. We need to focus. On lap 7, I started making a lot of mistakes here because the tires were going off. The damage on the car was affecting me quite a bit, and I lose the position to Sainz. It's so frustrating because I'm losing so much with that early engagement with Russell and trying to fight him so hard. It's gonna make me think of the next few races. What do we do? As you can see, previous lap, Esteban Ocon out of the race. On lap 8, Verstappen is now chasing me down. 2/10, 1/10. He's gonna overtake me because the second sector is just not doing it for us. We're suffering here, but it's okay. We are going to try and get him on the next lap. Now, one thing that did help us, Sainz suffers some sort of damage. I don't know what's going on. His car is messing about. It's just a Ferrari thing, I guess. And we are going to see if we can overtake him for 5th place. And we dive down the inside. Yes, we get 5th place. And we secure... Oh, not 5th place, it's 4th place. We put Sainz back in 5th. That's what we want. Lap 11. Hamilton now on my tail. And what happens here? Does he overtake us? And we're up into 6th. Do I use overtake? I don't, which is possibly a very bad decision. But late on the brakes. Do I dive down the inside? No, I don't. I think better of it. Sustaining that damage made me quite cautious in this race. Now, Perez, 2/10 behind us. And going on to lap 11, what happens? Okay, lap 11, we get a safety car on lap 12 because Carlos Sainz was out of the race. Sorry. And going into the pits, we are going to pit for the hard tires. I'm not making the same mistake as last time because that was a shambles. I don't want to end up losing so many positions because I have to force myself into an extra pit stop. Do we get a good pit stop? Yes, we do. 2.4 seconds. It's perfect. Where does it put us? We're still in P5, which is what we wanted. Now, lap 14. The safety car ended on lap 15. If I remember correctly, it was quite long. And yes, lap 15, the safety car ends. I'm trying to stick to the back of Hamilton because I want to get a good run into this first sector, up into overtake. I want to overtake Hamilton on the track and get up into 4th position. Maybe we can, maybe by some miracle we get onto the podium, but I go run wide. I should have actually given that position back, but I didn't. Now we are up into 4th place. Hamilton fighting back for this position, but I'm got the better line on the inside. The top 3 just ahead of us. Let's have a look at what happens. The first sector has been our best sector so far. Hamilton is 2/10 behind us. Going into the second sector, it is not good. We did not build up enough gap. The guys ahead of us are 1.2 seconds in front, and we have zero DRS opportunity. Hamilton overtakes us. There's a little bit of contact, wheel-to-wheel contact with him, and we are back into 5th place. Alonso now on our tail, 2/10 behind us. I have to cover off Alonso so he doesn't overtake me for 5th position. Piastri is also in the fight, and this has just turned into an amazing Grand Prix, and it's action-packed. But at what cost? At what cost is it action-packed? I've sustained damage. I am not able to fight these guys. But that's the way it works. Leclerc with a 120.9, the fastest lap of the session or of the race so far. Now Alonso is pressuring me on lap 18. 1/10, 2/10 behind us, and he overtakes us on the lap. Do I dive down the inside like I did Hamilton on lap 16? I do. There's a little bit of contact, but Alonso is just too far ahead and he holds onto the position. Keeping with Alonso, we need to stay on in his DRS. It feels like I'm a recorder because that's all I've been saying. I'm just trying to keep in these guys' DRS, and we do. Lap 21, Piastri has now joined the fight. It's a big fight for P5, 6, and 7 between myself, Piastri, and Alonso. Hamilton's too far ahead. He's 4.1 seconds ahead, and Hulkenberg is too far back. Looking at lap 26, I'm very close to Alonso. My DRS is open. I've got overtake activated. I dive down the inside. I hold the position. I'm late on the brakes. I keep the position. Again, up into overtake. I'm just wanting to break this DRS of Alonso. He's 8/10 back. He can't keep up with me. The damage of the card doesn't feel too bad. 1.2 seconds behind us on lap 27. But it's not over, because if I make one mistake, if I have any sort of oversteer or understeer, I am gone. Piastri ends up overtaking Alonso, and he is on my tail for the last lap of the Grand Prix. Lap 29. Hamilton 7 seconds in front of us. I need to be clinical. I cannot make any mistakes for this last lap. If I lose my cool, if I do anything wrong, it means Piastri overtakes me, Alonso overtakes me, and I end P7. That is probably what we were expecting anyway for the Grand Prix, but every position counts. The second sector being my worst sector of the weekend. Piastri, 4/10 behind us. We need to cover him off. Why am I not using overtake? I'm thinking of this next straight. This and that last straight of the lap where he could potentially overtake us. He's on the outside, and there's a little bit of contact. We keep our positions. We don't push each other wide. But Alonso has actually overtaken Piastri. This is perfect. Piastri 1 second behind, Alonso 5/10. George Russell wins the Australian Grand Prix. What is this? Do we end up securing P5? Yes, we do. I give it a little wiggle, and we are in, guys. P5 for the Australian Grand Prix. A much better result than last weekend, and we are on the rise. Driver of the day, George Russell. What an amazing Grand Prix.
At the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
And there you have it, guys. We ended up P5 in the Grand Prix after starting P2. Russell won, Leclerc came second, Verstappen came third, and Hamilton was P4. This does reduce the gap from the leaders. Mercedes are clearing the top of the Constructors' Championship, and we are currently in P3. And yeah, it was a good Grand Prix. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks, guys. Cheers. Peace out.